Karen and Will Middlebrooks, joined by Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow. And in full disclosure, you had agreed to this a couple days ago, so we don't want to think you're coming on to sort of do any damage control. But then the news broke this morning, and obviously take us through the sort of news, what we know so far, and what happens next for Giolito.
Yeah, so still gathering information, kind of firmly in the hands of our medical staff. But Lucas had talked about feeling some discomfort coming out of his last start. Wanted to give it a little bit of time to calm down, but felt like it was time to escalate. So, going through a workup right now, and once we get more information, we'll figure out the best plan for him.
Whatever amount of time you will have to go without Giolito, do you feel you have the candidates internally to fill that role?
I think we do. I've been outspoken about pursuing all options and paths that could represent an opportunity to improve the club. At the same time, I think now that we're here and we're playing games, we're starting to see the effect of Andrew Bailey and the rest of the pitching infrastructure and the steps forward that many of these guys have taken.
We talked about that a lot up here, just watching guys' stuff, whether it's Whitlock's changeup, just how guys' velocity's up, and talking to Andrew of just how he attacks, how guys' body works, and how these, not going to make these big mechanical hauls on their deliveries, but using their bodies and getting the most out of their bodies and their natural movements and things like that. What's your viewpoint on what Andrew is bringing to this club?
Yeah, so I think he's bringing a lot. First of all, he's bringing a ton of credibility and experience in this market for this team. Beyond that, he's got just an unbelievable energy and enthusiasm and optimism around him, and incredible work ethic. So he's here at 4:30 in the morning, and he's figuring out how he can get better every day and how he can help our guys get better every day, and they're buying in. Oftentimes we're making tweaks on the margins with guys who are talented enough to pitch in the big leagues, and so I think it's Andrew's talking about pitch usage and fine-tuning pitch shapes and ensuring that every pitcher knows their identity and embraces that and pitches to their strength. So pretty significant changes in pitch usage so far this spring.
Yeah, Craig, you talked about exploring every opportunity. It has been well discussed that there are free agents still out there. When an injury happens, does that change that discussion? Does it change the value you place on bringing someone in, or does it not? Do you still have to continue as you were 4 days ago compared to where you were now?
Yeah, I think each situation is different. For us, a few days ago, I spoke about the optimism that we have around this group. That remains. We see what Witt is doing today. We've seen the way that guys like Wing threw the ball yesterday, and Houck has looked, and we're still trying to process exactly what we have in front of us and what kind of timeline we're dealing with. But I think we feel good about the group that we have here, and we will give them every chance to grab hold of rotation spots, to come together as a staff. It's also my job to evaluate the other options available.
So you made it clear that there's the options at the end, especially at the end of the rotation, whether it's Houck, Whitlock, Winkowski, Chris Weld, these guys, you have options, right? Looking at the schedule, and we talked to Alex Cora about this a little earlier. Obviously, you start on the West Coast, you have a couple off days, but then you have 13 straight. Is the option of having 6 guys in that first month to kind of get you through that, is that a real option?
Yeah, Alex and I have started to talk about that. Obviously, we'll have conversations with Andrew and others. I think we're very, very open-minded about the best way to piece that together. The depth is a strength. I think the bullpen is a strength. I think there will be times where we'll need to be creative in terms of deploying our pitchers and getting outs. But those guys that you mentioned, we feel like they're all major league starters. And we've got to figure out the best way to deploy them.
This is a drive to center field by Aranda, and that will bring in the run, maybe 2. Both runners being sent in, both will score, so it winds up being a 2-run double for Aranda, and the Rays take their first lead of the game 2-1. We're here with Craig Breslow. Upstairs, Vaughn Grissom, the other injury, though, doesn't sound as severe from what we've learned so far. Do you have an update on Grissom and any kind of timetable for him yet?
I think we're still kind of managing that day to day. He's reporting improved symptoms, starting to get active. I think the good thing is he can still go out and he's tracking a bunch of pitches, and he's pretty active in the training room, in the weight room. He's a guy that I know is super anxious about getting on the field, and we need to be mindful of that and making sure that we don't overdo it, especially early.
Fly ball to right for the second out of the inning. And towards that end, we talked with Alex Cora today about Ceddanne Rafaela. Is there a temptation to get him back on the infield because there could be a need there? He said for the moment you're sticking with the plan for the outfield, but does that become a temptation when you've got a versatile guy like that?
I mean, it's a temptation in that we think that he can be an elite defender at multiple positions. We are constantly trying to balance his development in the short term with his development in the long term with what is best for the 2024 Red Sox. As things stand right now, we're giving him the chance to make the opening day roster, win the starting center field job, and we try not to react too emotionally to other news because it's easy to become distracted and to think about how do we plug holes versus what do we think is best for Rafaela, best for the short term and best for the long term.
Well, you also have a lot of outfield options and guys that can really play every day and impact the team in a good way. So obviously Emmanuel Valdez can swing the bat well. Obviously you have Pablo Reyes who you can plug in and play that as well. So you have options. Options are a good thing, but I think Rafaela, to your point, can be a game changer in center field.
Yeah, and I'd put David Hamilton in that mix as well. The ability to play second, to play short, super athletic, dynamic, and having options is great. But also we need to make sure that we're giving guys the runway to showcase what they're capable of doing.
Here with Craig Breslow as the Red Sox now trailing 2-1, top the third. Garrett Whitlock out for his third inning of the day, and that'll be fouled back. You mentioned Andrew Bailey and obviously Justin Willard, the new pitching director. I think Kyle Bodie was here over the weekend from Driveline. To a man, the pitchers seem to be talking about some early results. How gratifying is that? Some of the things you've set before them are getting some quick results, which will lead into more buy-in.
Yeah, there's a circular nature to this, right? And it's really difficult to predict timelines and how quickly you'll see results, and typically what happens in the game out there is kind of a lagging indicator relative to the infrastructure that you're building out and the philosophies that you're trying to change. So it's been great. And like I said, Andrew, above all else, is just so enthusiastic and energetic and compelling and so likable that he was always going to be able to build relationships with our players. The fact that we've seen progress and success so quickly only reinforces that.
That's a trust thing, right? As well as it's like bringing in someone new, building relationships, getting to know each other, and then implementing a new structure. It takes a lot of trust. So I think that speaks very highly on his ability to get to know these guys so early in camp.
Absolutely, and he started that process this offseason. I mean, the day that we hired him, he was already scheduling Zoom calls and meeting players and scheduling flights down here to Fort Myers to meet guys face-to-face. And I think his experience here, the playing experience, the credibility, he's been through it all, and it's resonating with the guys.
All right, Whitlock gets Shenton swinging down. The inning gives up a couple of runs. We head to the bottom of the third. Craig, thanks for dropping by. We know it's been a busy day. We appreciate it.
Thank you.